why? When the why is big enough, the how always appears. So what was my why? This was a long, long time ago. I had already given up on life and had really no desire to try and keep myself alive. Crap going on with my first husband, crap with the second husband, child custody issues. Nothing made sense, and I didn't see a way out, and dying seemed like the best way. And so in March of 2004, I ended up with a huge 2-inch open lesion on my butt and several open lesions in various places around my body. And I knew what was going on. I was jaundiced. And then by the time I went back to the doctor in August, I was past jaundice and just gray. And I did spray tans and always wore makeup to make sure that nobody knew how sick I was. And so my son was 7 years old at the time. He was out in the lobby listening, and my doctor was yelling at me because I hadn't gone to the dermatologist back in March when she first told me to. And she kind of lost her shit and was telling me that I probably wasn't going to make it through the summer. And so we knew, but at that point, that the melanoma had spread. It was in my liver and lymphatic system, and there's nobody that survives that. So anyway, one of the things she said while she was yelling is, the minute you walk out this door, you go straight to the dermatologist's office and make an appointment. And so I got dressed, and I'm thinking, like, this is not how I want to tell my kid that I'm dying, because I had been kind of pretending forever that I wasn't. And just justified in my head that he'd be fine with his dad and his stepmom. He'd be fine without me. And so I get to the lobby, and he motions for me to come down, and he holds his hands up and he says, "Mom, if we leave in less than a minute, we don't have to go see Dr. Lawler." And I said, "Okay, we'll do it. Are you ready? On a count of 3, we're going to run to the car. 1, 2, 3. We ran out the door. It was not a self-closing door. We didn't shut it. We take off running, get to the car, and I unlock the door. He opened his door, run around to the other side, open my door. We both get in. Doors are shut. Doors are locked. I start the car. We're getting ready to go. And he says, "Mom, did we do it?" And I said, "Of course we did." And there's no way it was less than a minute, but I was going to pretend that it was, because what else are we going to do? What, go to the dermatologist so that he can tell me I'm going to die too? It was kind of a given. It was obvious. There was so many open wounds, and again, with the jaundice and the lumps in my neck and my armpits and my groin, I knew what was going on. Doctor knew what was going on. I didn't need another doctor verifying it. And so we pretty much didn't say anything at all the whole car ride home, and make it back, and just kept going with life. And I don't remember if it was that day, if it was the next day, but we were talking about custody. And he says, "Mom, when I'm 12, I'm going to live with you full time." And I said, "Cameron, you heard what the doctor said. She doesn't even think I'm going to be here for your next birthday," which was literally a month away. And I said, "How am I'm not going to be here when you're 12, according to her." And he comes over and he sits on my lap. I'm in this green chair that we still have. And he says, "Well, what are you going to do? Kill yourself?" And I said, "No, Cameron, I would never kill myself." And he says, "Well, if you stop fighting, that's what you're doing." And he threw his stuffed animal at me, and he ran upstairs and slammed the door. And I was like, oh my gosh, he thinks that if I die, it's because I chose to. How can I let my 7-year-old believe that I chose to die? And it was probably a day after that, he comes to me and he says, "Mom, am I not important enough for you to live for?" And I said, "Of course you're important enough for me to live for, but how am I going to do it?" And he says, "Well, I guess you just figure it out." And I was so overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, nobody's ever survived this. How am I going to figure it out? There's no medical treatment for metastatic melanoma that actually works. They say that they have things that prolong your life for an extra 2 months, 3 months, but nothing that actually works anything long term. And you feel like crap the whole time. So did I want to go through something like that was going to make me feel worse and only give me a month or two longer? So anyway, I opted out of that and found a she's a friend still, and she was looking in my eyes. We're having a conversation, literally like as far apart as me and the camera are, and she says, if you don't do something about it, you're headed for cancer. And I start crying, and I show her the big huge open wound on my butt and showed her the stuff on my chest, and she says, well, I can help you. And so she started getting me on some detoxing stuff, and that was the beginning of the journey. But I think that it was the absolute most important part of the journey, is figuring out why. Why did I want to live? If you don't have a reason big enough that you want to live, I really don't think any of the treatments are going to work. It doesn't matter if it's traditional, if it's chemo, radiation, alternative stuff. You have to have a big enough why. And it really is true. When the why is big enough, the how shows up. The other part is, would I have even started if I knew how long it was going to take? Well, what were my options? I still have a tumor on my leg. It's literally been 20 years. In March, it will be 21 years. And I'm not sure why I still have it. I'm not sure about a lot of things, but I do know that he's 28 years old and still has his mom, and his world would be very, very different if I had completely given up. So we do have the opportunity to pull our heads out of our butts and start moving in the direction we want to go into, as long as we're still breathing. We can change our minds. It was pure hell. Oh my gosh. I have people recently said, you don't know what it's like to get a cancer diagnosis. Excuse me, what? Let me show you some pictures. So I pull up some old pictures. I had lots of people send me messages. I'm going to unfriend you if you post any more of those pictures. They're old, but my goodness, I'm so healthy now, and I'm so alive and live a more adventurous life than anybody I know. And as a result, people don't even think that not only that I still have cancer, but that I ever had it to begin with. What is your why? What is it that you want to do with your life? Why do you want to be here? Because once you figure that out, there's people all over the place that will help you. I'm one of them. Life is good. I love you. Bye.